Dear students, welcome to the course Introduction to Metaphysics of Sanskrit Language, and this is lecture 12. In last lecture, we have already gone through these points of unit 4, that is Introduction to Kashmir Śaiva Darśana, then characteristics of Param Shiv, the ultimate existence, then Shakti as the principle of manifestation, and characteristics of Citi as well as ontology or Tattva Mīmānsa of Kashmir Śaiva Darśana. I have explained all these things. Now we are going to begin Pramāna Mīmānsa or epistemology. That means with respect of Kashmir Śaiva Darśana, what is the possible way of understanding the concept about the instrument through which we know something. Epistemology deals with the pramāna, and pramāna is a word which is multidimensional. In Sanskrit we use this word for a lot of the things, and in turn all the meanings are summarizing or giving the essence of presenting an evidence, a kind of instrument through which something can be measured. So, Pramāna Mīmānsa is dealing with that instrumental aspect of consciousness. After that, we will begin the manifestation process, in which we have to deal with the subjective and objective manifestation. So, let us understand one by one. Epistemology. In the last lecture, I explained that Tattva Mīmānsa, Tattva means that and then ness, because Tva denotes abstractness or subtleness of something. So, that ness, what is that ness or is ness? So, existence is in which form comes into appearance, that denotes Tattva. So, that is why Tattva cannot be translated as element or category, but these are the problems, or you can say these are the restrictions, compulsions, limitations of the translation right now for me also to explain the things to all of you in English. If I want to translate Tattva, there is no exact word in English. Tattva is thatness, that means the form of existence which is very subtle in nature or abstract in nature, cannot be explained or delimited in a perfect shape, size and structure, but still it represents our own existence. So, the kind of existence we are having or different type of manifested entities are having, they are listed as number 36 in Kashmir Śaiva Darśana. So, basically I explained you in the last lecture, suppose this is you can assume that in this bottle there is a kind of a bulb which is luminous. So, luminous intelligence when gets encapsulated in 36 levels or 36 layers, when it is getting covered in through the 36 layers, then we are being manifested. So, whatever is available right now to all of us, that is a manifested entity, and that has come in this form, in this kind of a gross structure after 36 layers of encapsulations. And that is why we do not know who am I, because we never go into the process of involution or introversion, introspection, andar ki or nahi jhaakte. Who am I? The question is, who am I? When I will start the curiosity or investigation about my own existence, I will begin from the gross structure. This body, whether I am this body, this gross structure, whether I am bones, flesh, etc., etc. So many flesh, bones, skeleton, liver, so many organs are present inside of us. Is that me? Is that so? If my one kidney will be removed, I won't be in existence. Is that so? My heart will be removed, I would not be in existence, or with me all the entities would not be in existence. After passing through the multiple levels of investigation, we will come across that ultimately we are conscious energy, conscious intelligible energy, and that is why that is luminous and intelligent. That energy has been encapsulated in 36 layers of encapsulations or delimitations, then we are present in this form. So, basically a journey towards yourself, gives us the answer, who am I? And in that sense, when we have understood tattva, existence, or the 36 possible levels of existence, then we have to understand how we can know that this is our existence, or these are the possible 36 layers through which we have come into the appearance as a gross entity. What is the method? What is the instrument? How we can know? That is dealt in Pramāṇa Mīmānsa. So, epistemology in turn explains like Pramāṇa. What is Pramāṇa? The method of investigation. Method of investigation or the instrument of experimentation is Pramāṇa. So, when we systematically analyze or present that study which deals with the investigation of instrumentality is known as epistemology or Pramāṇa Mīmānsa. So, here in Kashmir Śaiva Darśana you can see the acharyas, the scholars or in Āgama Shastra, the three possible types of pramanas are accepted. First is direct perception, Pratyakṣa. Second is Anumāna or inference, and third is Āgama. What is direct perception? When our senses directly intercourse with the objects, like my eye, through my eyes my consciousness is coming or rushing out and then engulfing the object present outside, attaining the attributes of it and then going back to me, and then again there is an image formed, getting formed in within my consciousness, and then I am evaluating it, identifying it or processing it, then I come to the conclusion that this is a chair. So, this method of cognition involves direct intercourse of the senses. So, in turn it is not the intercourse of the senses, it is the intercourse of the consciousness. That means my intelligible energy when rushing out from or through the paths of my senses, engulfing the outer object and then identifying the attributes and then acknowledging it. So, this process of cognition is involving direct intercourse of consciousness present inside of me and the conscious identity, conscious or non-conscious manifested entity which is available right now in externality, that means outside of us. So, what is happening? Direct intercourse of the senses is happening, or you can say direct intercourse of the consciousness present within and consciousness present outside. Why I am saying consciousness present outside? Because I am able to perceive the chair also, I am able to perceive you also. You are a conscious entity, and this is our limitation, that we do not understand that the chair is also a conscious entity. It is not like the chair is not conscious, it may be conscious, we do not understand that it is conscious or not. That is the limitation of our senses. So, basically direct perception involves a direct intercourse of internal consciousness and outer or external conscious entity. So, this is Pratyakṣa. In the same way, when I am explaining you about the seeing or perception through the eyes, in the same way all the rest of the four senses like ears, they are receiving the sounds, then processing it, then again understanding it and then responding. So, in the same way rest of all the senses, taste buds, they are also receiving the different stimuli and then processing them. So, all the five senses, through the five senses our consciousness which is present inside of us, which we possess within us, actually identifies the rest of the manifested entities which are also conscious entities in turn, and then we understand them, then we perceive their attributes. So, this is direct perception, Pratyakṣa, and in Sanskrit we have like Pratyakṣa को प्रमाण की क्या आवश्यकता है, हिंदी में भी ये कहावत बहुत बोल जाती है. I have seen it. When somebody challenges or actually negotiates something which you have seen by yourself or you have heard yourself, you immediately respond that it cannot be true. Whatever you are saying, I do not agree with you because I have seen it myself, I have heard it myself, because direct perception is always a very strong evidence for any kind of process, for in any kind of phenomena. So, we stuck to the direct perception. अगर किसी जगह प्रत्यक्ष है तो हम उसको ही मानते हैं कि सच है. That's why in the sciences what we do till now, through our normal eyes, we are not able to perceive viruses, bacteria, but when we make them, when we prepare a slide, stain them, then we see it through the microscope with a resolution of something 8x, 10x or 16x, then we perceive it directly. So, by increasing the range of the instrument, we are able to perceive them directly. So, that becomes a direct perception. That is why in sciences we stuck to the pratyakṣa. जब तक हमें उसका प्रत्यक्ष सबूत नहीं मिलता, हम उसको ऑथेंटिक नहीं मानते. ये क्या है? ये विज्ञान का मेथड है. दैट्स वाई आई टोल्ड यू वी कैन नॉट ट्रांसलेट दर्शन एज फिलोसफी, बिकॉज फिलोसफी इज बेस्ड ऑन आइडियाज ऑफ अ स्पेशल पर्सन और सम काइंड ऑफ पर्सन, बट darshan deals with the method of investigation, which includes the 5 steps of observation. Then after 5 steps, after 5 stages of proper investigation, we reach to the conclusion. And in that sense only we say that nigamyante anen iti nigamaha. That means Vedas are that kind of knowledge which have been already concluded. That means they have already undergone through the 5 stages of investigation. Then it came to as a knowledge resource. So, it is a scientific understanding which is available in the Vedas, and we in our incompetency roughly translated the words of Indian corpus in order to make them easily understandable in English or in other languages, and that created a kind of a blunder for our own system. So, here in direct perception, after direct perception, second is inference or Anumāna. What is Anumāna or inference? When we say that there are clouds, it may rain. So, we are inferring something. This is Anumāna. We are assuming that it may rain today because there are dark clouds in the sky. And on what basis we are inferring it? Because sometimes in our previous experience, we have seen whenever there are dark clouds in the sky, it rains. So, because of a direct perception which has already happened sometimes in the past, we infer something for current situation. We assume something for the current situation. So, this is Anumāna or inference, and that is why inference is in turn based on direct perception. We cannot infer anything which has never come into our direct perception. जिसका हमने साक्षात्कार कभी नहीं किया, प्रत्यक्ष कभी नहीं किया, उसका अनुमान नहीं कर सकते. ऐसी कोई चीज़ अनुमान नहीं किया सकती जिसका प्रत्यक्ष कभी ना किया गया हो. So, internal inference is based on direct perception. For example, just like in chemistry, we have so many formulas, organic chemistry, benzene ring structure, and ring structure is used to denote so many of the possible processes. कभी किसी माइक्रोस्कोप से रिंग स्ट्रक्चर देखा है? Have you ever seen that ring structure directly? No, we have inferred it. This is inference. अनुमान के साथ हमने उस चीज़ को पूरी ऑर्गेनिक केमिस्ट्री एक्सप्लेन कर दी उसी के बेसिस पे. Just on the basis of inference, we have explained all the possible phenomena, not only in chemistry. On the basis of that only we prepare the medicines. We synthesize the medicines in the lab. So, can you even imagine this kind of inference is such a strong thing. कितनी सारी चीज़ें हमने ऐसे ही इन्हीं दोनों पर कर रखी हैं. After that, in Kashmir Śaiva Darśana, we accept the third pramāṇ, that is Āgama. And I explained the definition of Āgama is Āgatam Śiva Vaktrebhyā Gatam Ca Girja Śrutau Tasmāt Āgamam Proktam Shastram Param Pavanam. This is a definition of Āgama, and in that sense whatever has been revealed to different entities, not only to us. We have received a very small part of the Agamas as a human being because our limitations are so much. So, whole of the corpus is much more grand than we can even imagine. So, the revealed knowledge which has been directly taught by the Śiva to the Pārvati, this is a metaphorical definition. You don't think like this Śiva and Pārvati which are the imaginary characters, they are depicting directly. ऐसा नहीं सोच सकते क्योंकि शिव और शक्ति they both are the tattva. Tattva means existences. Both are inside of us. So once we start self-talk, once we start antaha samvad, we actually switch on to the embedded intelligence. And we start identifying or getting the information or getting the knowledge from within. And that level of intelligible energy, when reveals the cosmos, that becomes the revealed knowledge. And because that comes through the dialogue between the two parts, or one is a Shishya, other is a Guru, that becomes a kind of revealed knowledge which has been taught by the Shiva to the Pārvati. So in a way of metaphorical understanding, you can understand that Shiva is the teacher and Pārvati is the disciple. In the same way, inside of us, when one part puts a question to us, another part tries to find out the answer to that thing. And this process of introspection or inner talking goes on continuously in order to get the answer of a solution or a problem, or find a solution for a problem. So this is how Āgama are also revealed, and that is why in Āgama, in our system, student or the listener is more important than the teacher. Because even if I am teaching the best possible thing to best of my efforts, the student who is not having the complete eligibility criteria or the proper qualification for that or the attentiveness required, the person won't be able to grasp that knowledge. Because the listener, the capability of the listener is very much important, and whatever you understand, that will be the Āgama. That will be the received knowledge. So whatever you will receive, that will depend on your own capacity. And that's why in a class of 100 or 200 students, teacher teaches the same thing to everyone. Sentences are similar to everyone, but each student is not capable of understanding at the same level. That's why you score different, you feel the experience or knowledge differently. This happens because of the limitations or the capability or qualification of the listener. So in Āgama Shastra, student is much more important than the teacher. The capability or the qualification of a student is much more important. So if you you are being questioned like what is the difference between Nigam and Āgama? अगर एग्जाम में प्रश्न आ जाए व्हाट्स द डिफरेंस बिटवीन निगम एंड आगम, तो अब निगम और आगम का बहुत बड़ा डिफरेंस ये है. फर्स्ट इज निगम इज डायरेक्टली परसीव्ड नॉलेज and Āgama is revealed knowledge. Nigam is already concluded knowledge. Āgama is a dialogue based knowledge. So Āgama में कोई प्रश्न करने के बाद उत्तर आएगा, and निगम में experiment हो चुका है, result आ चुका है, so concluded knowledge is presented. So here we are having third pramad as Āgama. That's why the whole of the corpus is named as Āgama Shastra. And in the same instance, because Agamas are the pramadas here, and they are mentioning that after a possible level, ultimate existence can't be measured, because we cannot measure out any kind of entity who is having the topmost end as a limitless. जब आपका आखिरी छोर ऐसा है जिसे infinity कह सकते हैं, जिसका limit नहीं है, then you cannot create an instrument unless and until your instrument is itself limitless. So limitlessness can never be examined or measured out with a limited substance. So at what they accept, all the Agamas or all the Acharyas in Kashmir Śaiva Darśana, they accept that up to certain limit, all the possible kinds of instrument of investigation are functional and compatible. They can be accepted. आप कितने भी प्रकार के इंस्ट्रूमेंट बना सकते हैं, कितनी भी टेक्नोलॉजी डेवलप कर सकते हैं, but up to a limit. After that limit, they all fail, because they all become incompatible to measure out the limitlessness. Ultimate existence is limitless. It's unbound. So you cannot measure unbound thing with a bound substance. So, what is the ultimate understanding about the Pramād in Kashmir Śaiva Darshan? The question will be asked and you have to answer the question like, in Kashmir Śaiva Darshan or in Āgama Shastra, all the means of cognition or all the instruments of experiment are valid till a certain range or limit. After that, they all become incompatible to measure out the ultimate existence, which is limitless. So, this is the last and the grandest possible understanding of the Acharyas about the Pramād or the means of investigation. After this, we are going to understand Srishti Prakriya. In turn, Srishti Prakriya is, you can say it is a manifestation process, because Srishti Prakriya is also understood with the reference of the philosophical units like metaphysics, which is the title of our course, and in the first lecture itself I told you, if I compress the title of the course, it will be Introduction to Vak Tattva. So, metaphysics भी मेरी विवशता है, क्योंकि और कोई शब्द नहीं है उठाकर बताने के लिए. So, here what is happening? In this diagram, you can see that in this triangle, we have three possible parts. One is instrumental consciousness, second is subjective consciousness, and third is objective consciousness. At the topmost point, when from the Shiva Tattva, 36 layers are appearing on the canvas. What is going to happen? They are progressing in two directions. You just assume that you have taken a container in which a lot of water is present, and then you made the two holes and you put the two pipes. एक बड़े से कंटेनर में पानी भर के उसमें से दो छेद बनाकर पाइप लगा दिया. So now ultimate energy, or you can say the ultimate existence, which is in the form of functionality known as intelligible energy or Shakti, is going to begin the manifestation process. That intelligible energy, that Shakti, rushes out through the two sides, two possible paths, and one path becomes the subjective side, second part becomes the objective side. And now how you understand this thing? You are seeing this object. So, okay, this is the object, you are the subject. I am the subject, this is the object. So, I am the subjective consciousness, this is the objective consciousness. Right now, I am seeing you. So, I am the subjective consciousness, you are the objective consciousness. So, once the energy starts functioning to create everything in limitations of 36 levels or layers, at the first instance, there are two possible ways. First is the objective, subjective, second is the objective. That means at the first instance, the energy is on one hand creating subjects who are going to know. कौन है जो जानेगा, cognizer कौन बनेगा. And then on the second hand, what is going to be known? किसको जानेगा? What is the object? Second side. So, objective and subjective, these are the two sides. And third is the instrumental one, through which everything will be known. So, in turn, in darshan also, we have the three possible things. One is Pramād, second is Prameya, third is Pramāta. In English, we have the words cognizer for Pramāta, objective consciousness for Prameya, instrumental consciousness for Pramād. So, in all the darshanas, we go through this understanding only, Pramād, Prameya and Pramāta. So, here subjective consciousness is representing Pramāta, the cognizers. Who are the cognizers? Who are going to know everything? And on the second side, objective consciousness is representing Prameya. What is going to be known? And at the topmost level, through which or how Prameya is going to be known. So, that becomes the instrumental consciousness or Pramād. So, in turn, in this understanding, all the three entities are conscious entities. So, do not consider that you know anything through a microscope or a telescope. आज से याद रखिएगा, you are the cognizer, your eyes, the consciousness rushing out through your eyes or senses and then passing through that instrument to cognize the object, that is the instrumental consciousness. कोई भी instrument नहीं देखता है, आप देखते हैं. That's why you are so intelligent that whenever you are in lab and you are not able to perform successfully your experiment, you create the readings. किया है ना, बहुत सारे लोगों ने किया है, टीचर्स को पता है सब. So what you create it because you are the actual doer, you are a conscious entity, you are the perceiver, you are the cognizer. आप अपनी डेटा रीडिंग्स को कॉपी भी कर लेते हैं, बगल वाले ने किया है उसी से उतार लेते हैं. ये सब क्यों कर लेते हैं आप? आपको पता भी नहीं है कि आपने किया ही नहीं, इंस्ट्रूमेंट ने क्या दिखाया, आपने कॉपी मार के डेटा टेबल बनाई और जमा कर दी. ये सब आप लोग करते हैं बिकॉज एक्चुअल कॉग्नाइजर इज अ कॉन्शियस एंटाइटी. So our own conscious, subjective consciousness actually understands everything, actually identifies everything. So on the subjective side, the cognizers are present, and in this understanding, we have 7 cognizers. Now remember, these are the 7 complementary posts. Just like I told you that for Ramayana, Mahabharata, when we use the words Veda Vyas, Ganesh and so on, these are the complementary titles. They are the posts, just like your dean, director, they are the post. People change, but the name of the post don't change. So in the same way, these are the complementary titles which are representing the post. Any individual, any creature, when gets promoted, that becomes the cognizer of the next level. Or any creature, any manifested entity, when becomes demoted, that becomes the cognizer of the lowest level or lower levels. Just like Shiva can be Mantra Mahesh, in the same way Mantra Mahesh can be Shiva. So these are the posts, and in these posts, conscious entities or the conscious subjective, or you can say subjective manifested conscious entities move up and down. So in turn, there is no mukti at all. हम कभी मुक्त नहीं होते. क्यों? क्योंकि consciousness or the intelligible energy at the peak point, at the highest possible point, it's not going to be absolutely destructed. बताया था, कभी absolute destruction नहीं होगा. We are in a cycle, and cycle is continuous. So we have to be in this cyclic module regularly and continuously. Once dissolution occurs, then again creation happens. That means appearance, disappearance, then appearance, then disappearance, and this cycle goes on. So as per the level of or the potencies of different manifested entities, they can move from sakal to pralayakal, from pralayakal to sakal. Up and down motion can be is possible, but eternally कोई चीज़ खत्म हो जाएगी, कोई चीज़ मुक्त हो जाएगी, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. That's why it's better to be an engineer than to be a Baba, because there is no eternal liberation. We can be promoted to the upper level and we can be demoted as per our potentials, but we are not going to be absolutely ended. There is no absolute liberation. We are in a cycle, and we have to come again and again, appear and disappear, then again appear and sustain and disappear. The process goes on. So on the subjective side, we have the 7 pramatas, and on the objective side, we have 36 prameyas. That means tattva mimamsa, which I have explained. 36 tattvas or 36 layers of encapsulation, they are the objective consciousness, they are the prameya. So on the objective side, 36 prameyas are being created, or they are appearing on the canvas of the Citi, and on the subjective side, 7 possible posts or the types of or the levels of pramatas are appearing on the canvas of the Citi. Same Citi, intelligible energy, same Shakti, and through the instrumental consciousness. So instrumental consciousness becomes the a kind of mode through which both the passages are coming on the surface. They are appearing on the canvas. Now what is happening? on the two sides, that means one is subjective, second is objective, because our course is related with the language, भाषा, तो मैं आपको वहाँ तक लेकर जा रही हूँ जहाँ भाषा आएगी. On the subjective side, when I have explained that we have 7 levels of the pramatas, in those 7 pramatas, we have 3 levels of creation or manifestation, and in those 3 levels, first is Varna, second is Mantra, third is Pada. This is happening from top to bottom. So, in Indian understanding, we understand the manifestation process from top to bottom. The approach is top to bottom, highest to lowest, subtlest to grossest, right? But in the sciences or in the Western understandings, they start from the lowest possible to upper one. So, they are getting entangled, or they are actually engaging their a lot of time in understanding the multiplicity, grossest aspects. ग्रॉस एस्पेक्ट को समझने में बहुत समय लगा देते हैं, सटल को समझने तक कभी पहुँचे ही नहीं हैं. अभी साइंस बहुत पीछे है उस कंपैरिजन में जब आप उसे आगम के कॉर्पस से कंपेयर करेंगे. सो इन इंडियन कॉर्पस, इन आगमास, वी हैव द अंडरस्टैंडिंग फ्रॉम सटलेस्ट टू द ग्रॉसेस्ट वन. सो फ्रॉम सटलेस्ट टू द ग्रॉसेस्ट, वर्ण, मंत्र एंड पद आर क्रिएटेड इनसाइड ऑफ अ कॉग्नाइजर. सो इन द 7 levels of cognizer, these 3 levels are there. Now these are the parts of bhasha, varna, mantra, pad, because we are going to touch the mantratmak aspect. So we have to deal with the concept mantra, pad, mantra, varna और pad ये क्या है, कहाँ से आया, कैसे evolve हुआ. So at the first instance, when the consciousness progresses in the 3 levels, varna, mantra and pad, at the first instance varnas are created, at the second instance they are mantras are being appearing on the canvas, and the third or the last one, pad is appearing. So we will understand it from the pad. What happens when subjective consciousness is dependent on instrumental one? That means this subjective consciousness is dependent on the instrumental consciousness. When this is happening, like right now, अभी क्या है, if I want to convey something which I express to you, I have to depend on my vak, indriya. I have to speak it. If I say, or suppose I presume that I won't speak anything and you write all the examinations, कितना अच्छा होगा, मुझे कुछ नहीं पढ़ाना पड़ेगा, आप सब लिखाइए. It won't be happening, possible नहीं होगा, it's not feasible, हो नहीं सकता ऐसा. Until and unless I speak, I explain you the things which I want to make you understand, I won't expect you in return the understanding, right? So I have to, as a subject, I have to depend on my vak indriya, instrumental consciousness, to communicate everything to you. This is the level when pad are generated. Pad means word, I told you. So right now what I am doing, I am arranging padas or words in some kind of structure to produce a meaningful sentence or utterance, and then I am speaking to you. Then you are trying to understand what ma'am is saying. So this is the lowest or the third level, where pad is generated, and through the pad communication happens within a cognizer, subjective consciousness. At the second level, that means one level up, before the pad, there is mantra. What happens here? When instrumental consciousness ceases, this ceases, temporary cessation, and it becomes dissolved into the subjective consciousness. थोड़ी देर के लिए रुक गई है. Ceases का मतलब ये है, it's in a dormant state or in a passive mode, right? It's not communicating, it's not providing a perfect meaning. Like if I start reciting gum, 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 this is a mantra. Whether you will be able to understand a complete sentence by the single sound gum? No. So for a little instance, or you can say in reality, this gum sound is not able to communicate the complete essence to all of you, because all the listeners or the objective side is of different levels. But what is really happening? It is dissolved into subjective consciousness. That means I am knowing what I want to say. By the recitation of gum, what I want to convey, to whom I want to actually praise, or or you can say from which level of manifestation I want to access the energy. Because we have undergone 36 levels of limitations. If I want to access Shakti Tattva, I will recite a mantra which is related with the Shakti, and then I want to access the energy of the Shakti Tattva. That will be mantra. So in the puja, so many puja जो चलती हैं, उसमें मंत्र जो पंडित जी बोलते हैं, उसका क्या मतलब है? Never understood that aspect. Even if you try to contemplate in your examination, what was that? What was that? You are already creating a continuous jap of few of the sounds, which are trying to get the answer from within. You are actually trying to switch on your embedded intelligence through continuous contemplation. This happens in the process of contemplation or manan, and this is at the level of mantra. So mantra वो नहीं होते जो किसी भी तरह से पूजा में प्रयोग किए जाते हो, वही मंत्र है. No, even if the calculate is imagining for the Benjamin ring structure, that is also a manan process. He is also contemplating. Even if you are studying something very deeply and you are trying to identify or get to the trying to come to the solution of that particular question or problem, you are contemplating, you are doing manan, you are using your embedded intelligence through some kind of cluster of the sounds, and they are also the mantra. इससे कोई मतलब नहीं है कि आप फिजिक्स पढ़ रहे हैं या मैथमेटिक्स पढ़ रहे हैं या संस्कृत पढ़ रहे हैं. They are also mantra because they are the cluster of the sounds. They try to switch on the embedded intelligence. That is the mantra, and in that state, instrumental consciousness ceases, becomes dissolved into the subjective consciousness. You don't communicate to others. Dialogue is not there, but you communicate with yourself. Monologue is there. Antah samvad is there. At the third instance, Varna. What happens when instrumental consciousness completely submerges into the subjective consciousness? Now you are you started reciting a particular mantra like Om in the Brahma Muhurt like 4 a.m. and after some time you just kept quiet. That means after some time or after a significant time period, after a practice of a significant time period, like आप 10 सालों से मंत्र जाप कर रहे हैं और वो भी 4 बजे उठ के. So after a long term practice of a significant period, what happens? You just be seated in a kind of posture which is very relaxable, and then automatically your breath starts reciting that mantra. Your breath recites the mantra and that becomes the autonomous spontaneous mantra, even without uttering a single sound in a Vaikhari Vak. You contemplate, and that automatically channelizes the energy. You become refreshed, and that's something which is understood as ध्यान सिद्ध हो गया है. वो ध्यान लगा लेता है. ध्यान का अर्थ क्या है? You are focused enough on a single point. You have already concentrated all your powers on a single locus, and then you are reciting within yourself. You are reciting within yourself without making a Vaikhari Vak. That means without making a sounds in utterances. This is the third level which denotes Varṇa Adhvā. That means कि वर्ण वो नहीं है जो हम लिख के सीखते हैं. They are not script based. ये अगर लिख दिया जाए तो ये वर्ण है, ऐसा नहीं है. जब ये चीज़ आपके अंदर से आवाज़ या ध्वनि रूप में आए तो ये वर्ण है. And that's why even when we are silent, we are not uttering anything, there is a anahat nad. Have you ever heard about the anahat nad? Nad is that state when your complete GIT, complete air column is present inside. You are completely you have already shut down all the senses from the external stimuli. You are residing in a peaceful state of a particular asana, and your air column present inside of you. Air column is present inside of us because we have the GIT. If it is very clean and nothing is present in that, it will be filled up with the air. So that air column automatically resonates, and that creates a sound, that is nad, anahat nad. So at that time these sounds come from the inside even without your uttering in Vaikhari. That means आपको अपने होठ भी नहीं हिलाने पड़ेंगे, लेकिन sound produce होंगी. For example, if you have seen the play of Kathputli, ancient times, Kathputli, and in 64 allied sciences that was also a science. They move the created ones like dolls, etc., or creature, any other creature, and the sounds are coming from the person, but the person is not visible as uttering something. That means उसके होठ तक, lips तक नहीं हिल रहे हैं, and nobody is able to know that from where the sound is coming. The person creates it from the inside, from its gut. That means inner air column creates the resonance, and that provides us the vidya of creating the sounds from the inside. That is anahat nad, that is the nad stage. So nad is something which is a sound coming from inside, and that is Varṇa Adhvā, in which we are able to perceive different possible sounds. So whatever Maheshwar Sutras are there, 14 Maheshwar Sutras, Yud, Ril, Rik, these are anahat nad varnas. The list is, that's why they are understood metaphorically, that they have came from the Damaru of the Shiva. Have you ever heard ki Damaru bol raha hai? Ah, no. Damaru, metaphorically we say that these Maheshwar Sutras are received by us because they are coming from the sounds of, as a sound from the Damaru of the Shiva. What is that signifying? That is signifying the anahat varna, जो अंदर से प्रोड्यूस होते हैं, जहाँ कोई लिप्स नहीं हिलाने पड़े, कोई प्रयत्न नहीं करना पड़ा. There is no place of pronunciation, no effort of the pronunciation. It is automatically happening in the form of resonance. That you just imagine or remember that experiment when it was done in the resonating air column in a pipe in physics. जिन्होंने ईमानदारी से किया होगा उन्हें याद होगा कि you create a you just use a tuning fork and you place it on the top of the air column. It gives the sound. कैसे? And the same principle is applied inside of us. You do it with yourself. You are the experimental apparatus. Your body, your mind is the experimental apparatus. You do it with yourself. It will be done. The same thing which you have done in the outside experiments. So this is Varṇa Adhvā. So here we are finding the constituents of the bhasha, Varna, mantra and pad. That means language is coming with manifestation, with creation. कहीं अलग से नहीं आ रही है. So subtle understanding about the bhasha is not available in any other disciplines, in any other corpuses of the knowledge other than our own. On the objective side, simultaneously what is happening, when varnas are coming into existence, tattvas are coming. That means 36 tattva. 36 tattvas are related with varnas. यही संबंध है. That's why I told you reality and bhasha go hand in hand. They come or appear simultaneously together on the canvas. On one side tattvas are evolving or appearing, on the other side varnas are evolving in the cognizer. Then at the second level, when mantras are appearing, kala is appearing. Kala is a membranous covering, just like when you peel onion, there is a membranous thin covering. किसी ने देखा है ना, प्याज काटा है किसी ने. So if you have seen that membranous thin covering in the onion, that is something which is understood, which can be understood as kala. Kala provides limited residences. So kala should be a supporting membrane, जहाँ residence बनाए जा सकें. So this is supporting membrane. So kala, along with the kala, mantra appear. Along with pad, bhuvan appears. Bhuvan means actual homes, locations, जहाँ घर बन सकते हैं. So, Kala gives the substratum in which residences can be created, and Bhuvan are the specified locations in which the residents can create their residences. This is the objective side. So, in the subjective side, Varna, Mantra and Pad is appearing on the canvas, on the surface of the Citi, and on the objective side, Kala, Tattva, Kala and Bhuvan are appearing on the same surface of Citi, same surface, at her own will, at her own surface. Now what is happening? As I told you, Tattva is linked with Varna. So, now on the subjective side, how Tattva and these Varna are related, they are linked because they are coming together. So, which Tattva is linked with which Varna, you need to know. So, here you again recollect the knowledge about the Varnamala. We have been taught the Varnamala, first swaras, independent sounds. Independent sound for their pronunciation, a, e, u, re, ri, a, o, au, aha. Short and long, short and long. So, these are the total swaras, and they are representing the Anuttar or Param Shiva Tattva, first stage, the highest possible reality or the full existence, because they are appearing just as Anahat Nad also. So, all the swaras are linked with the first Tattva, or you can say the grandest or highest possible reality of existence, that is Param Shiv. At the second instance, now you see the table. In the table we have vyanjanas, and each vyanjan is listed. How it is listed? We have to put the list from the last one. Okay, we have not been taught the Varnamala from Kshatrajna, but now we have to do that, because what after this one, what process is I am going to explain you, that is transposition. Transposition is a process which happens when from para to pashyanti vak emerges. para से पश्यंती में आते ही ट्रांसपोजिशन हो जाता है. So because of that transposition phenomena, the link of the tattva with the varna is transposed. So we will put the things from the below, from the last one. You go with the understanding of Pratyabhigya. Pratyabhigya Hridayam, Pratyabhigya Hridayam, Pratyabhigya Shastra ka granth hai. I told you that we have 4 branches, 4 subsystems of Kashmir Śaiva Darshan: Pratyabhigya, Kul, Kram and Spand. Right? So Pratyabhigya system identifies these, the listing of the sounds like Ksha. The last one relates with the Shiva, then Ha to Shakti, then Sadashiv to Sa, then Ishwar to Talavisha, and then Shuddha Vidya. This is Murdhanisha, Ishwar Murdhanisha, then Shuddha Vidya to Talavisha, and then Vakar Maya. La denotes Kal and Kala, both. You can remember it because La is present in both of them, Kal and Kala. Ra to the Vidya, then Ya, Rag and Niyati. Again last one, Ma from 25 one. So you basically understand like this is the cluster of 25, 5 cross 5, right? 5 cross 5. So this is 25. From Purush onwards, Ma, Bha, Ba in reversal. Purush, Prakriti, Mahat means Buddhi, then Ahankar, then Manas, then Shrotra, Tvak, Chakshu, Rasana, Ghrāṇ, Vak, Pādi, Pād, Payu, Upastha, Shabda, Sparsh, Rupa, Ras, Gandh, and Akash, Vayu, Agni, Jal and Prithvi. So 5 cross 5, the 25 elements which are available in Ashuddha, Ashuddha Tattvas. Ashuddha means delimited ones, completely delimited in the powers. They are available in these 5 cross 5 set. That means Panch Varga. From Ka Varga to Ta Varga. Ta, Tha, Da, Dha, Na, Pa, Fa, Bha, Ma, Pa Varga. That means from Ka Varga to Pa Varga. These are 25 Varnas and we have 25 Tattvas. So 25 Tattvas of Ashuddha stage are directly related with, they are coming directly with 25 Varnas of our व्यंजन वर्णमाला. वर्णमाला के जो 25 व्यंजन हैं उनके साथ साथ वो 25 अशुद्ध तत्व इवॉल्व होते हैं. ये simultaneously, this process is happening simultaneously together. On the one side, tattvas are evolving, on the second side, varnas are evolving. So they are interconnected, interrelated, embedded. It's not like you can separate akara from, you can separate ka from prithvi. You can not separate these things. Just like you cannot separate your anahat varnas from you. कॉन्शियसनेस से निकाले नहीं जा सकते कि मैं चाहूँ कि उसे आई जस्ट विश टू डाइसेक्ट द ब्रेन एंड देन प्रेजेंट इट इन द टेबल. नहीं, आई कैन नॉट डू दैट. I cannot separate these varnas from the cognizer and present them in the gross structure. They are embedded. First is they are interlinked, साथ साथ आ रहे हैं. They are interdependent. One will come, other will automatically come. So interlinked है, interdependent है. Then they are embedded within each other. The way a cognizer is having sounds, naad within it's himself or oneself, in the same way one sound is also having the cognizer within oneself. Just like in the seed, everything is already available as a genetic code which is related with the characteristics or attributes of the future plant. In the same way, when in the plant again there will be a seed. So from the same seed, the plant is emerging, and again the plant is flowering, and again from in the flower the same seed is available. So in the same seed the plant was also embedded, and in the same plant again the seed is embedded. So embedding is like that. So interlinking, interdependency, and then embedding. So these are the three properties through which both the sides are interlinked, interdependent, and embedded in each other or within each other. This is how subjective side and objective side, they appear on the canvas of the Citi. In this way, we have the constituents of the bhasha, they are appearing on the surface of the Citi herself. So from here itself, it's very important that we are having the concept about the three constituents of the bhasha, varna, mantra, and pad. After that, we will begin with a transposition. Why this happening? Why this is happening? Why this reversal is happening? Why we cannot list them directly as it is starting from the ka? Why this process is happening? What is the reason? So from the next class, I will explain this reason itself, how this is happening. So for this lecture, this is sufficient. Thank you.